Well, on the night of the Fox Sports Christmas party, we hope it's not a bad omen to talk boxing, and that is what we're going to do. Paul Upham, thanks for joining us. Let's start with a mismatch.
What an introduction.
And it was a mismatch, but it wasn't the mismatch we thought it would be. Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya, the mismatch we all predicted, but not with Manny winning.
Well, we go back to the beginning when they made this fight, and everybody was so surprised because Oscar De La Hoya is so much bigger than Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao actually started his career as a flyweight, and Oscar's gone all the way up to middleweight at some stage during his career. So everyone thought Oscar's going to be too big and strong and Manny Pacquiao's going to be knocked out, but they didn't give Manny Pacquiao enough credit. Being the best boxer in the world pound for pound, I said on Friday that he would find a way to win, and he did, and going down in weight would prove too difficult for Oscar De La Hoya.
There's something telling in the fact that he went down in a division, and we'll talk about this a little bit later with Anthony Mundine, but was it as simple as that, or did he just come up against a superior boxer?
There was a few points here. First of all, going down in weight is not something that boxers normally do. Normally, as their career progresses, they move up in weight as they get a little bit bigger. But Oscar De La Hoya, at 35 years of age, decided he was going to move down one weight class. Now, Manny Pacquiao was moving up 2 weight classes, and the theory was that Oscar's still going to be big and strong enough to actually be, dominate Manny and win the fight, because Manny is going to be so much smaller. But the strange thing is when they actually came to weigh in, Oscar was 2 pounds under the welterweight limit. Manny Pacquiao was really close to that. So Oscar didn't actually have that much of a weight and strength advantage, and he looked very weak during the fight.
You mentioned the weakness. We're going to see some highlights from the fight in a moment. At what point of the fight did you think, hang on a second, Oscar's in strife?
I felt in the first 2 rounds, Oscar needed to come out and really rough up Manny, assert himself, really land some heavy punches, and he fought tentatively. He looked weak in the legs. It wasn't the hand speed of Manny Pacquiao which won this fight. It was the foot movement. As much as he was landing really good punches, it was the foot movement. He couldn't allow Oscar De La Hoya to set and land Oscar's harder punches. Oscar couldn't get off to a good start. After 2 rounds, the 3rd round was close. From that point on, it was all Manny Pacquiao.
I wouldn't have thought there would have been too many more popular boxers in the world than Oscar De La Hoya, but Manny's got a pretty strong following. He's going to be a big draw in the future, isn't he?
He's had a huge fan base, obviously, in the Philippines and the Pacific region, and now in America. He's really built himself up because he's crowd-pleasing. He's like Vic Darcinian in so many ways. We talk about how Vic's popular in America. He's got an aggressive style. He comes to knock you out. He doesn't muck around in the ring. He doesn't predict too much beforehand. He's very humble. Even at the end, he said how much he respected Oscar De La Hoya. He would claim to be his idol. He's got a very exciting style, and people go away saying, when can I see Manny again?
Tell us about the progression of Manny Pacquiao, because a few years ago he's fighting a fellow by the name of Skinny Hussein.
Yeah, look, history could have changed so dramatically. Back in the year 2000, Nadal Skinny Hussein fought Manny Pacquiao over in the Philippines, and Skinny had Pac-Man down on the ground and out, and the referee gave an 18 count. If you can have an 18-second count, you can watch it on YouTube. And Nadal Hussein ended up losing the fight, and I think that was a turning point for Nadal's career, but also for Manny Pacquiao's. Now, Manny had been a flyweight world champion. He moved up in weight classes. He's beaten all the great Mexicans over there. They keep throwing all the Mexicans at him. He keeps knocking him out and beating him. And Oscar De La Hoya, another one on the list.
And it sets up a mouth-watering matchup with my favourite boxer, Ricky Hatton, who everyone just seems to love. He's a bruiser. He's, I suppose, talks the talk, but he walks the walk, doesn't he? This is going to be a great matchup next year.
Look, it is the fight next year, Ricky Hatton versus Manny Pacquiao. And there's 2 reasons people love Ricky Hatton. One, he's very exciting in the ring. He brings a good fight. He lost one fight to Floyd Mayweather Jr.
He hits bloody hard.
He hits hard, but he's also he's a people person. He's a boxer of the people. He goes out there with his fans, and he doesn't put himself above anybody else. And he seems like just one of the local boys down the pub. There he is, dropping schooners of Guinness. So he's very likeable inside and outside the ring, but he can fight. He showed that against Costa Zoo in 2005, and Manny Pacquiao versus Ricky Hatton will be a huge fight in 2009.
And how would that fight unfold?
Look, they're talking about having it at Wembley Stadium outdoors in front of 100,000 people, which is groundbreaking stuff in the modern era of boxing.
If they got 100 grand, where would it rank in the list of big audience fights?
Well, Julio Cesar Chavez, the great Mexican, had 110,000 in Mexico in a bull ring in the mid-80s, and that's never gone close. We're talking about, the early history of boxing to get hundreds of thousands of people there. But it just shows you the popularity of Hatton and Pacquiao that they could do that. The only thing I would question is what time would the fight be, because Costa went to fight Ricky Hatton in the UK. They held the fight at 2 a.m. in the morning. I think it's hard for a fighter to go around the world and fight at 2 a.m. in the morning. But Manny Pacquiao is such an energetic dynamo. He'd fight Ricky Hatton. And happy to. He's happy to take the Ricky fight anywhere, but it's the biggest money matchup now, so it's why it's likely to happen in the UK.
Would you have Ricky Hatton as the outsider just with that Floyd Mayweather fight on your mind?
Two reasons, that, and also let's give Manny Pacquiao credit. He is the best boxer in the world, pound for pound, and all the people who are picking Oscar De La Hoya to win, and it surprised me, wasn't people just picking him to win, saying he was going to win easily and by knockout. They were disrespecting Manny Pacquiao as the fighter that he is, and he is the best fighter in the world today. There's no doubt about that. So you have to give Manny Pacquiao respect. He would be the favourite going in against Hatton, but Hatton's a very live underdog, and it's a very winnable fight for him.
Would he fight Floyd Mayweather Jr. first, Pacquiao, and then go to Hatton, or how would that even enter the mix, do you think?
Well, after the Hatton fight, Floyd Mayweather Jr. retired. He was the pound-for-pound #1 in the world. He's retired. He was only 31 years of age. He was there at ringside on the weekend. There's no reason why Floyd Mayweather couldn't have a comeback. It's happened before in boxing. It'll happen again. Look, it would be another great fight. I don't think Floyd Mayweather brings the fan base that Manny Pacquiao brings to the ring for Ricky Hatton. And Ricky Hatton is probably the most popular boxer in the world because his English fans are so prepared to travel and follow him. So, look, that is another possibility. It's a great matchup, and maybe Floyd comes back and fights the winner of Pacquiao and Hatton.